Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to this conversation on our Redring media. And today I want to have a small conversation with my friend, Mwalimu Odoyowede, who is also Okekanea. Okekanea, I've really longed to have a conversation with you on a few issues that I've been unable to put my head around. And as I know, you are very familiar with the political landscape of this country. But more particularly, I wanted us to have a small chat on the political goings on in the Luo community. Because I am proud to be a Luo, and I'm a little convoluted on the way the Luo have been doing their politics. I want you to help me understand. I've seen the struggle that has been done by the Luo community in this country for the longest, ever since the pre-independence days through to the multi-party struggle, the independence struggle, the multi-party struggle, and to the new constitution. But I'm unable to put my head around what the Luo as a community before they are Kenyans have been fighting for. Can you help me understand?
You know, naturally human beings, if you show them something to fight for, and that thing gives them hope of a better life, or even just for happiness, just like you watch your Arsenal and you wait for it to win and you're happy, they will fight. And they will fight many times, even to the death. The Luo community have always been made to believe that if they fight the way they have been doing, one of their own would end up being the president. And with one of you being the president, hope comes with it of a better life, because they have also been made to believe that the subsequent presidents have not been taking good care of the Luo as a community. And this began such a long time ago. In fact, it is going into decades, 6 of them or thereabout. And they have been out there fighting until many of us who are born within that period believe that the type of political battles that we take is the normal way to do things. In fact, right now we have youth who believe that whatever you want politically, you go onto the streets. You don't petition anybody, you don't go to court, you don't petition parliament, you don't petition the president or a minister, you go to the streets and demand it from the streets. And I think it will be very difficult to change us from there. But in short, the community has been fighting for power.
The community has been fighting for power. Interesting, Mwalimu. You summarize it that the community has been fighting for power. In other words, for presidency.
Absolutely.
Are we fighting for presidency for the sentimental value of the position, or are we fighting for presidency as a means to an end?
Many people have been fighting for it for the sentimental value, but they don't even know. It's instinct in them. They don't even know that is why they are feeling so bitter when somebody wants to remove them from that fight, when somebody wants to defeat them in that fight.
Yes.
Because if you meet any of them, including their own leaders, and ask them what they want to do with that presidency, they have no idea. They are like, they will think about it when they finally get it. And again, if that were the case, that they were fighting for the presidency so that they can use it for the development of their people, for the growth of their people, then this one that they have now, that is giving them exactly what they would get if one of their own was president, they would have embraced it.
Before you go there, I want to bring you back and help me understand that we are fighting for presidency, or for power for that matter. Is this something that we have sat and agreed as a community that this is what to fight for? Or are we a hijacked army that are fighting a war that we don't understand?
We are practically a hijacked army. Mheshimiwa, you know, somebody has come up and said, this is what we are fighting for as a community. But we even have no proof that that is what he's helping us fight for. We just wait and hope that one day he will end there, and when that does happen, our lives will change. Nobody sat down with us and say, as a community, this is what is good for us, this is the avenue for getting it, and this is what we hope to achieve when we finally get it. Nobody has done that. We have just been made to believe that we are fighting for power, and when power comes, it will come with goodies.
Would it have been wise for us as a community to first of all define what we want to do with the power before we go hunting for power, because we are likely to get stranded with the power?
You remember I told you in the beginning that some of these people are there for sentimental values. I remember when I was a young boy, we would take a newspaper, that is if we get it, and count how many Luos are having their photos on the newspaper. This is Isaac Omolo Kero, this is Samuel Onyanga Yodo, and of course any other person whose photo finds its way in the newspaper and there's a caption. And we would be very proud that today in the newspaper there are 9 Luos, 11 Kikuyus, 3 Kisis, and things like that. We would do that when we were young. That tells you the funny thinking, the funny reasons for which we want one of our own in the higher echelons of power.
That is for the feel-good purposes.
Exactly. I think your vocabulary is wider than mine.
Okay. Now, that we normally feel good when we get prominence, especially in the media and above other communities. Are we lost in the emotional celebration of that prominence at the expense of the value that we really need to get from the positions that we aspire?
I think we are in a scenario where we are more serious about what we want than what we are going to do with it. We have not sat down and thought, this is what we want, but the only way we can get this that we want is to get power. Instead, we are going for power before we even think of what we are doing with it. And we have been in this journey for a very long time. And Luos are very passionate people.
Yes.
When they want something, they will fight for it. They will forgo anything for it. Take, for example, the Luos are very good people in supporting football teams.
Yes.
Especially one that they believe is their own call Gor Mahia. There was a friend of mine in Kibra. He used to own a hardware. Mm-hmm. That hardware, even by his own confession, on a Saturday afternoon, he would sell up to 200,000 with a markup of almost 40%. Mm-hmm. He will close that hardware.
Correct.
To go and watch Gor Mahia playing.
Yes.
200,000 with a markup of 40%.
Yes.
That is almost 80,000, 100,000.
Yes.
He would forgo that to go and watch a match that he pays 200 bob to go in. That is how passionate they can be. That is how they can sacrifice anything for what they believe in.
But you see, matters emotions are normally ranked ahead of matters rational.
The ordinary folk there, my brother.
Yes.
They don't even know that that thing that is making them do certain things are emotions. They think they are going for what they believe in and what they
People
want.
will want to feel good.
But
anything
the
that
leaders,
makes them feel good, they will always go for.
But the leaders do.
Yes.
And they raise their emotions.
Yes.
They show them who is their enemy.
Yes.
They show them who they should love. And when the emotions goes high, they misuse you. They use sloganeering. And they use sweet language. We call them glittering generalities. Glittering generalities where they tell you, we are going to get, we are going to have freedom.
Yes.
The nice words they use.
Big words.
Big words that
Yes.
make you
Feel nice.
go high, feel good, we are achieving it.
Mwalimu, you have been around, and today you are an opinion leader, if not an opinion shaper. And you should be central in your community's opinion shaping. What are we doing as a community to get our priority right, so that we don't just chase wind? We chase something that we can come back home with.
But let me just tell you, to an extent of offending some people, we have not got proper leadership to gather the community together for a common goal that serves the community now and in the future. We haven't got it. All the leaders we got, worst of all now, are people who want to do things that are self-serving. For example, right now, we have I think almost mirengo mitatu ya Wajaluo kwa kisiasa. There is one that has been and are with the president in his UDA party. In the other one, which is ODM, it is also split into two. But none wants the other. Even those that pretend that they are in the same political arrangement, for example, the broad-based. They are in broad-based, but the ones that are originally in ODM don't want to see eye to eye with those who are in UDA. They don't want. Then they also claim that they don't want that axis that is in they call themselves Linda Wananchi, because they are anti-broad-based. But even within this broad-based, there are some people they don't want to see. I would have expected by now, the people going around the country talking about Linda ground, having called the Luo together and said, we need to move together in one political formation. That political formation can come in any name, whether it is UDA, ODM, or a coalition of the two. But it is respected that this is one of our own and we can't fight.
But when we go through the formations, I think it start getting emotive, because now you start seeing personalities. I want us to just think about the community as a whole, and see what is good for the community before we look for which is the best vessel to pursue this good thing for the community. From where you sit, if you are to be the doctor, how would you, what would be your recommendation to the community so that we are able to gather ourselves again and take off with a common purpose?
What is most important is to first identify what the community lacks and where they are being beaten by other communities. And also if you do analysis and why. Number one, the education levels in Lowland have gone very low. You find so many people who are practically illiterate, though they can read and write.
I hear you.
When you go to Lowland, poverty is on the rooftop.
Wonderful.
And when people are poor, it is very easy to control them using small tokens.
I hear you.
And now the general development of the area, that even those who now finally have the resources, you may not find a hospital to go to.
Wonderful.
You may not find proper schools for your people. These are the things that we need as of now. And now we have to have a prescription. How do we get these things so that in the future, we can count on our own selves? Just imagine if somebody woke up today and said, the Luo are going to be a republic onto their own. They have nothing.
Wow.
To run a country.
Wow.
They have nothing to build even a national headquarters for the Luo Republic if it were to go on its own.
We have our intelligentsia.
How will you put that on the table and eat? How will you use that to set up a military headquarters? How will you use that to build a university? We need, however brilliant you are, however good you are in academics, you must know how to create resources.
But tell me, I have seen the way you have itemized them, that our education is dwindling, much as we were the powerhouse in education from days pre-independence to immediately after independence until probably after multi-party. You have said that our economy is dwindling.
It's terrible.
And but how come this is the situation? And today we have the opportunity under devolution to manage our own affairs, because the purpose of education, of devolution, has always been so that a people can govern themselves, plan for themselves, and develop for themselves.
You know, that lack of education is a serious cause of the problems we find ourselves in.
But by any standards, we are the most educated community in the Republic.
Let me tell you,
or one of.
You can be the most educated because 100 of you are professors, but 6 million of you cannot tell the difference between the role of a governor and the role of an MP. Yet is the one who is going to vote for both.
That's civic education. That is not.
You may call it civic education, but you will not understand it without the formal education first.
All right.
In any case, majority of the civic education we come across, we learn them through the grapevine. We learn them through interaction. We learn them from the environment. But look at this. You go to a county and you complain that the governor has not done anything. That mass who is largely uneducated, both formally and informally, will tell you, na wewe unasema governor hajafanya kitu, wewe umefanya nini? He is forgotten that the governor has his resources that has come from the national government. And you is asking from what you have done. Nobody has given you money to do for him anything.
Before we try to apportion blame, and maybe it may not be wise for us to apportion blame, I'm asking, just as a community, we have moved with Kenyans through history, and today we have devolution, which is exclusively for our own good.
Yes.
In our own areas. Are we our own problem as a people before we blame others?
Yes, we are our own problem. Why we are our problem? If you look at the kind, quality, nature, and character of the leaders we have, and we tell ourselves we elected them, yet deeply we know we have not used our full faculties to elect them. There's a way in which, to some extent, they are imposed on us. We are generally very good people. Because if a Luo knows this is what my MP is supposed to do for me, and the people who are presenting themselves to be MPs, who are they? Who can do this for us?
I hear you.
But then, we are driven by emotions. We love Odongo, and Odongo has told us we should elect Otieno, so we are going to elect Otieno without finding out if Otieno can perform the roles of the office we are electing him in. I once met another Indian when I was a teacher, and I used to teach Indians, and there was a lot of political noise in the country. He told us, as these days we have learned, that when you want something to be done for you, you get the person who can do it best, whether it's your friend, relative, or enemy. If he's the one who can do it best, go for him. And he told me, when you want to build your own house, you are not going to look for a man from your clan, community, or tribe. You are going to look for the best food.
Before I lose this, Mwalimu, I've had a discussion on this show with Onyangolo. And Onyangolo has brought it to my attention, or buttressed it to me, that the community called the Luo are a good community that know what they want, and also when it comes to leadership, they always choose the best.
Absolutely.
And to illustrate that, he told me immediately after independence, Luo gave the best of them to this nation, and the caliber of people they gave were mostly presidential. Where did the rain start beating us that today you are saying we don't have leaders?
You know, when you take me there, I think names are going to be mentioned. blame is going to be apportioned.
No,
so I don't know whether that is where we need to go. Because
just make it in terms
of I do not understand how we reneged from those great leaders we had in the beginning, like Konyango Ayodo.
Yes.
Then later, in that very constituency we had Onyango Ayodo, we had Ongondoweri as an MP. What happened? What happened for the quality of leaders of Onyango Ayodo to the one we finally have?
This is my show. I'm the one asking questions. What happened?
What happened? I'm just making a statement. What happened that we finally no longer listen? You know, when you are listening to me, it is not only what I say. It is the passion with which I say it. It is what I say can do to a people.
Correct.
But these days, people go and listen to entertainment from politicians. And when they like the entertainment, they elect them.
But Mwalimu, you have been around, and not for so long, but you have been around. Today, we are in the 13th parliament, I guess. And with hindsight, you are not there, but you have read. You know the composition of the first parliament, second, third, fourth.
I have an idea.
Up to the 10th parliament, 11th, 12th, and talking about these parliaments where we send leaders and the corresponding MCS and councillors, as it were, where did we stop bringing quality?
We stopped bringing quality at the advent of probably multi-party. It reached a level that we began believing that if somebody has a ticket from this particular political party, he must be elected, whether it's a dog, a cat, a goat, a monkey, he will be elected. And with that, the populace began believing that Kumbe anybody can be anything. I remember in countdown to the 2013 general election, in parliament there was a bill that was to make it mandatory for every MP to be a graduate. It kept on being postponed, and I don't know what happened to it. And I was asking myself, the kind of reports that MPs read, analyze, and go and use to debate in the National Assembly, would just anybody who never even wrote a proper composition or read comprehensive in school manage it? Or they are going there to add the numbers as a voting machine for their political party? You know, it takes very great brains to come up with great ideas, to debate before colleagues and peers, to let it pass through to change the lives of our people. You remember when President Mwai Kibaki came, he found a bill that was brought by one Joe Donde to bring free primary education. It was a bill worth every piece of paper and ink that went into it. Because we had somebody like Joe Donde as an MP.
Perfect.
I do not want to name names, but there are some people who are in that position, we would have not got such a bill.
Because I remember in the first multi-party election, when Ford was Ford Kenya, I remember Jaramogi's party brought the highest number of professors in parliament. There was Professor Uma, there was Professor Nyongo, and so on and so forth. And why do you want to blame multi-party for this when we got the best around that time?
Let's see that at that particular time, we were still basking on the way we used to elect leaders. But as time went on, it changed slowly by slowly. It changed slowly by slowly, and many people coming up. You know, the people who are voting at the beginning of multi-party were the same people who voted those good leaders you know about.
I hear you.
But as time went on, younger people who think that you vote according to political party rather than the person, because there is no political party that will go and debate in parliament. It will be the person you elected. It will be the idea coming from the person you elected. But you see, political party in Kenya became vehicles owned by certain people. and it is them who knows what they want to achieve with those. Sometimes somebody forms a political party purely to fight for the presidency. So what is going to happen to the people he doesn't know and doesn't care?
So are you saying that the lack of clarity on what our interest is that we are fighting for as a community is a function of the leadership that we have? Are you blaming on the leadership?
It is a function of the leadership. They are leaders who, once they have captured the people into their wings, they no longer think about the welfare of the people, but of their own. And there is something natural in human beings. The leaders they want behind them must be weak enough not to pose any challenge to their position.
But that's natural. Even cocks do that.
Yes.
Even lions
So that
do
is
that.
now, that is an element that can only be treated by the people. It is the people to decide. Even though we love you and you are at the top and you are a great leader, behind you we want other great men, so that when you give way, your place is taken by another great man. Or in their own roles as our leader, they can do great things for us.
But that would require that every community or the Luo community have a structure of processing their leadership other than the emotional elections that we go through.
It is very difficult to find somebody who will pull the Luo together, put them down and explain to them this is the type of leader you need and these are the type of leaders you elect. In any case, there are people who would be offended by such a meeting and they would not want it to come up. And they will use propaganda of any form to scuttle such an arrangement.
But I believe the Luos as a community are seriously yearning for good leadership, aren't they?
They are yearning, but you see, if you yearn for good leadership as an individual, you need to share that same thinking, that same desire with the rest of the Luos, especially when they come together and agree on it.
Okay. Without whining over that for so long, I want to move you a little, but just a step higher than from where we are. We have fought for so long, and we have lost lives. We have dissipated energy. We have invested a lot of intellectual capacity, and we have lost our economy. We used to have a very strong economy within the community. Can you help me understand whether we have achieved something to show or it is all effort down the drain?
My brother, for me where I sit, it is all effort down the drain. In fact, our vicious fight for the presidency, our vicious fight in the street has only made many, many more people, especially those in power, to dislike us and help us destroy our own economy. Mheshimiwa, you know, sometimes back when I was a student at St. Mary's School, Yala, I used to pass through Kisumu on my way to school.
Good.
Kisumu was a very vibrant city. And I remember it used to be considered the third largest town in Kenya before it was made a city. Actually, it was made the third city.
And the capital of the Luo community.
But remember, during those days, we had companies manufacturing soap, clothes. Of course, we had Kikomi, bottling of Coke. We had Equator Bottlers. We had Kenya Breweries Vibrant, and many others which were smaller. All these were in Kisumu. And we were hoping more would come. But instead, these ones were already there, went down. Incidentally, even in the neighborhood of Kisumu, another company came called Dominion Foods that I was only going to expect was going to compete with Del Monte, the one in Thika. But before it began competing with Del Monte, we had already played our bad-mannered politics, and it was out of our neighborhood. Now, 2,000 plus people lost direct jobs. Many more thousands lost indirect jobs. Businessmen lost livelihoods and opportunities to do business. And when you look at it, there was no leader who demonstrated outrage at what happened.
So how have we lost this economic might that we once had?
I think because the leaders we have could not connect those businesses with economic development. They had not that capacity.
But I was asking you that...
or they just didn't care about the people.
Yes. I've had a lot of celebrations about our achievements as a community. One, we worked hard and we got independence. Two, we worked very hard and we got multipartism. Three, we worked very hard and we got the Constitution and the inherent good things in it, including devolution. And those things worth celebrating.
Those are things for Kenyans to celebrate. But we as the Luo community, we can't celebrate them on our own.
But we are also Kenyans.
We helped in bringing it for Kenyans. But again, it is even in Luoland that they are failing most. Starting from
Let me understand.
Starting from Muru Bay to Ibo Senge.
Yes.
You will not find a single project truly worth, say, 200 million.
No. Mwalimu, I want you to be systematic here.
Yes.
Tell me how the independence has failed to benefit Luo community. Tell me how multipartism has failed to benefit the Luo community, and tell me how devolution has failed to. Yeah, take me one by one.
Okay, I copy what you want to extract from me.
Correct.
Now, Kenyans got independence.
Yes.
What did we expect when Kenyans got into self-governance?
Correct.
Where we know our problems and we provide solutions to them.
Correct.
When we got independence, I had expected that those developments that are appropriate for our region would come to our region. The ones that are appropriate for elsewhere will go elsewhere. But what do we get? Today, the headquarters of Kenya Navy should have been in Kisumu.
Perfect.
Not in Mombasa.
I hear you.
How did we not get it there? In 1952, a feasibility study was done for hydro generation in Kenya.
1952.
1952.
Right.
And number one on the list was Magwagwa Dam, not entirely in Luoland, but on the edge of Luoland in Nyamira. And
but the impact would
be more in Luoland because
yes,
the original feasibility study indicated that it would provide water for irrigation in the Nyakach Basin. And two, it would provide drinking water. And three, it would mitigate the flooding of that place.
Perfect.
Instead of bringing that project where it ought to have been, it was taken to the other rivers elsewhere.
I hear you.
And to date, that project has not been developed. So we miss out on key things. Even as recently, there was to be a University of Nairobi campus in Kisumu. And the British Council donated the British Council library.
I hear you.
The only condition they gave is you don't pull down the library, build beside it and on top of it. And they designed a structure on top of it. And that would have been one of the largest campuses of the University of Nairobi. Today, it is not admitting any students. And there is nothing that creates growth to a community like a learning institution. Every place where there is century-old institutions are cities.
So are we not pushing strong enough to get these marvelous things that you're talking about, projects? The Magwagwa, the campus, the Navy. Are we not pushing hard enough?
No. Our problem is not pushing or not pushing. Our problem is that we are fighting every government of the day. Every government we see, we want to remove it from power and take it, even when we don't have the capacity to remove it from power. You know, sometimes when I want your seat is to walk with you, be your friend, and hope one day, if there's a contest, I will defeat you, or if you leave it, I will take it. But us, every government that comes in place, we begin fighting. And we fight it until to an extent that it doesn't want to look in our direction. The only person we finally found that looks Nyanza-wards is President William Ruto.
But just hold on to that point. I'm still asking you that we didn't get the Navy, which
we deserved.
Kisumu deserved.
Yes.
We killed the Kikomi, which Kisumu deserves.
Yes.
Is it lost focus on our part as a community, or is it lack of push by our leaders that these things keep on slipping through our hands?
I think to an extent, we did not have leaders who presented our case enough. But most important also, we love the opposition. And do you know, once the food has been cooked and the cooks have put it on the table, the next person you need to be a friend of to have a good chunk ni mtu wa kupakua.
The service. Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, the president is the person who is having the big spoon in his hands.
I'm coming there, Mwalimu.
Good.
But just a little patience. Take me. After independence, we now fought for multi-party. How has multi-party served us, Luo, as a community?
Wow. That is even the one that destroyed our ability to elect good and great leaders. Because multi-party came with parties that belonged to certain communities. You remember when we went to the first multi-party elections, the Luos largely voted for Jaramogi.
Right.
The Kikuyu went with, I think it was Matiba and Kibaki.
Yes.
The Kalenjin largely went with the Moi.
Moi, yes.
And the others who did not have proper candidates and proper parties shared their votes depending on who they liked.
Correct.
And that was the day our people began to think that our greatest political tool is a political party that we call ours. But this political party are controlled by people who purport to own them because they were the founders. They literally own them. So they have a different agenda from what we the people have. But they confuse us that they have the same agenda as us. So they present candidates with this political party. And then you tell yourself, Odongo is a very good man, but now he's not in our political party. So I leave him out. I elect this one in our political party. The one in our political party is one that has been decided on by the founder of the party. He may not be the good person. He is those weak people want behind them, not to threaten their position.
But tell me that we fought so hard with our sweat, with our emotions for multi-party. As a community, we even lost lives.
Yes.
What is your assessment? Did we benefit from this passion that we invested in the fight for multi-party, or it turned out to be a curse?
We achieved our goal, but we did not benefit anything. We achieved the goal of multi-party.
Yes.
We actually have multi-party with us. Yeah. But now to benefit from the fruits of multi-party, because in any case, top on the agenda was that when multi-party finally comes, we may push one of our own to become the president. That was not achieved. Or we will have our own people, our own style elected in. Because one of the problems of the single party system was we believed the government was forcing candidates on us.
So is it your verdict that we fought for multi-party, but in vain? I mean,
it was a good thing to fight for.
With no benefit.
It was a good thing to fight for. But when we got this good thing did not help us.
Take me to the last one. Devolution. New constitution came with a GL called Devolution. Have we benefited from it? Because now we are left on our own to govern ourselves, plan for ourselves, and develop ourselves.
Let me tell you, the truth is, every time we have a political commotion, you hear our leaders saying, oh, but we must protect devolution. Somebody wants to destroy devolution. And we think that is a good thing. Because we went to this devolution believing the central government was not looking into our directions. But what the central government has done when devolution came is give us our resources in the hands of our own leaders. Our own leaders have now become worse than the very central government we ran away from. To an extent that I was beginning to think, probably we should have had devolution in a different way. Instead of devolving governments we should have devolved resources like we did in CDF. So it is the resources coming that we know, say in Homa Bay, we are going to spend 12 billion on development there. So that we don't have this government in Homa Bay that is localized, controlled by a local person who can fleece us of all the money, but we feel nothing.
But hold on, Mwalimu.
Yes, sir.
I've been to Wajir and I've been to Makueni and Kitui, and they have success stories about devolution. Why aren't we having the same success stories being told in Lowland?
We don't have success stories in Lowland because the leaders we elected in Lowland as governors were not entirely the people's choice. They were the political party's choice, and they owe us nothing. In fact, countdown to this 2027 general election, they had believed because they are already governors, they would get the ODM tickets and they would get election without having to show anything they have done. Now, that puts them in very precarious positions as of now. But also, you are talking about the success stories outside Lowland. Those stories would have been even more successful if it was funds that were devolved and not governments. But it is our own governors that had made me think that we should have devolved funds and not governments. Because you find a county with a budget of, say, 10 billion, only 1.5 billion is reserved for development. The very reason why you wanted devolution was development.
But how do you devolve funds without government? To whom do you give the funds?
What?
If you devolve funds without a government structure to run it, whom do you give the funds?
But we have almost similar funds in CDF that we have not devolved a government to go and manage it. We just form a small committee to decide what is going to be done to help us in payment, and that's it. Because it is also double. You have 47 chief engineer roads for some counties which do not even build one road in a year. We have 47 county secretaries. When at the national, we also have one. So all these people are only helping to consume resources. But as I was telling you something,
yes,
you find a county with a budget of 10 billion. Only 1.5 is going to development. And this 1.5 going to development, the development is going to be inflated that if it were done, it would only be worth 500,000. This 500,000, the people who have done the project will also not have been paid. So that 1.5 billion has gone into somebody's pockets, the whole of it.
But this is democracy, government of the people, by the people, for the people.
But the people are largely very literate. They don't even understand where their money has gone to. They think it is the right of the governor and his people to misuse the money they are misusing. And again, some of the projects, they can't evaluate them and tell this is worth that money. Because I have seen people cheering ECD classrooms for a governor who has a budget of 10 billion. Cheering an ECD classroom that has been built. There are others who have cheered the fencing of a toilet.
Mwalimu, I have to move from there because now I want to take you a step further. Our struggles as a community have not ended at the struggle for new constitution, which we got, and we celebrated the devolution in it. Immediately after every election, we normally still have struggles or wars to fight. And every time we fight these wars, we end up with agreements.
Exactly.
And at least I remember very clearly the 2007 agreement that led to the Grand Coalition government. And I remember the subsequent one was in 2018 after 2017 election, which was the handshake between ODM and Jubilee. And then recently, I remember there was another handshake between ODM and UDA, or UD and ODM. Tell me, we have been at the center of these struggles that lead to the handshakes as a community. And we have seen several agendas set out in these agreements. To what extent have we benefited as a community who have been at the center of these struggles from these agendas and agreements?
Let me tell you, when we take our people to the streets to fight, because I told you, they had been made to believe that for everything they want from the government, they don't use the structures that are available, they go to the streets. They go to political rallies and tell the government that we want something, and instead of going to use the structure that are available, we go to the streets. We make enough noise in the street. If we reach a dead end, we purport to come up with some agreement, some agenda. If we finally succeed, so be it. And this is the problem. Until now, our youth have grown up thinking, I've heard them saying that, oh, we got multi-party through the streets, we got everything through the streets, Badi became minister through the streets, everything is street. So are we going to be a people of going to the streets? And it will reach a time,
if that's what works,
it will reach a time when we will not have anybody who can command us to go to the streets, and we go. And I don't think the lives we lose in the streets are worth it when we have, say, for example, you wanted Isaka-san to go. Instead of going to the streets, we could petition Parliament and have him removed. All we needed to do is lobby and convince Parliament that this guy needs to be removed. If that is not possible, it means that he was not worth removing. Because if there was a good reason to remove it, Parliament is representative of the very people who are going to the streets. They should be able to remove him. And many other things that we have gone to the streets instead of petitioning Parliament or the Supreme Court or whatever organ of government that could do it.
I remember in 2018, we went to the streets because elections were stolen, even though Maraga did us a favor of calling for a repeat of the election, presidential at least. Mm-hmm. Of course, we did not take up that challenge. Mm-hmm. Instead, we were in the streets, and eventually we had an agreement. Mm. I just want you to help me understand this agreement that we had, and the agenda items that were encompassed in that. To what extent were they dealing with the interest of the Luo as a community who were at the forefront of that struggle?
Oshimura, let me remind you, man, one more time. This leaders we have, none of them cares about the people. None of them cares about the Luo. They care about themselves. Because they know we will believe everything they say. When they say, now we have agreed, we are going to do this, this is the 10-point, 5-point, 7-point agenda that the president is going to do so that we move forward. Those agenda items never get done, they never get implemented. They are only meant to appease the people. They are called an exit strategy from the streets. They are simply exit strategy. And that's what they have been. I don't think you have any which we can say this one, we had a 10-point agenda, it was implemented to this extent. Some of those agenda items are so vague that you wonder how people will even know they are implemented. If you go and say, fight corruption, how will you know the corruption has been fought? And fight corruption is not objective.
Aren't you oversimplifying a grave matter, Mwalimu? You remember, we went to the streets and we lost Baby Pendo. Mm-hmm. You remember, we went to the streets And we founded BBI to be able to deal with our grievances.
Was BBI implemented?
Well, but we formulated it and we presented it for implementation.
And you know, Mheshimiwa,
but what I wanted you to bring out for me out of the BBI is, of the 9-point agenda that was there, which one was closest to the community that was at the forefront of this push?
The Luo community are generally a people who can believe in a person to an extent that they make him a demigod. At that point, anything he says looks like it is gold. It is going to help people, even when you look at it and it makes no sense. Even in church, a religion can come that tells the Luo, we are going, at the end of the life, we are going to go to heaven in choppers that goes straight from here to heaven. They will believe you. And they will all get into that church, even when it doesn't make sense. Even when you tell them, oh, you are sick, we will pray for you and you get well. But him, when he's sick, he goes to Italy.
So are you
when
saying
he wants to buy a house, you will donate to wim. But you, when you went to buy, he will pray for you. Even that irony, they don't see. They still
Let
worship.
me get this straight. Are you saying that the community were hoodwinked into believing in the 9-point agenda that was signed of the BBI?
First of all,
yet it had nothing for them.
There was nothing exactly in the BBI that was going to benefit the Luo. The BBI was a punishment to the Luo, but it was a price they were paying because somebody had promised to make their son the president. BBI was the price the Luo were paying.
I hear you.
To make Raila the president by Uhuru Kenyatta. Everything that was in the BBI was a punishment to the Luo. Look at the number of MPs. Out of the 70 that was contested then, knew this is what he was going to use to become the Prime Minister of Kenya. Exactly becoming a president by another name. He was going to be the president of Kenya, but now called a Prime Minister.
So were we being used or being misused?
We were being misused. We were being misused to return Uhuru to power through the back door. But because it is our supreme leader who had told us BBI is good. Personally, Mheshimiwa, I struggled to sell BBI. Even my conscience couldn't allow me. But
I think you are having a vendetta, Mwalimu.
With who?
Fast forward.
With who?
Today, in 2025, we had another handshake at the foot of KICC between UDA and ODM with a 10-point agenda. And this has been very sentimental to Kenyans.
No, I don't think Kenyans are taking it seriously. It's only the Luo who are taking it seriously. And other members in the ODM Luos are also trying to misuse the Luos into demand a 10-point agenda. But that 10-point agenda has nothing, absolutely nothing for the Luo community in it. Yet it is the Luo saying, oh, we want the implementation of 10-point agenda. What is in that 10-point agenda for the Luo? Tell me. I know you know.
No, Mwalimu. Let's learn through the 10-point agenda one by one and then see if there is something or there's nothing like you allege for the Luos.
Tell me.
Let alone Kenyans.
The first point in the 10-point agenda was the implementation of the NADCO report.
NADCO report was going to create a position of the opposition leader for our opposition leader. Isn't that significant?
All those things that, are you saying that the opposition leader is meant to be just a Luo?
I thought you said we love opposition.
But anyway, the bottom line is majority of what were in the NADCO report required a referendum. These people who are telling us to demand the implementation of the 10-point agenda,
before you dismiss it wholesale, just take me one by one so that my audience can know what are contained in the 10-point agenda.
I'm actually still on the NADCO and there are 10.
Wonderful.
So in this NADCO report, whatever is in it needs a referendum.
Uh-huh.
And you remember the ruling that brought down BBI
Yes.
was that you cannot introduce a constitutional amendment unless you are parliament or you are the people, not the president. And that is why he brought it down. And yet, there's nobody trying to push parliament to introduce anything. And there is nobody trying, or nobody himself directly trying to introduce a constitutional amendment. It means the NADCO report cannot be implemented. If they are waiting for the president to do it, the president is legally barred from doing it. So it is them, and it is them who are also telling the people the 10-point agenda has not been implemented. Yet, number one, on top of the page, is not implementable. Number two, there are certain things in the NADCO report which are illegal ab initio. They are not implementable unless we largely change the constitution.
But we would do that at the right time. We had learned our lessons from the missteps in BBI.
That follows that we cannot change the constitution between now and the next general election because it will require a referendum. There is no time and there is no mover. Who is the mover of this change the constitution thing?
Second point, let me hear you.
Second point in the 10-point agenda, I think there's somebody talking about, I think that's the third one. They are talking about fight corruption. Mheshimiwa, fight corruption.
I allow you to read. And
fight corruption.
Yes.
Is not something you can come and tell us because it is not measurable.
Yes.
How are you going to say that we are fighting corruption? Because every day we see the corrupt being taken to court, being arrested, being charged. Some we hear also get scot-free. So it is not measurable.
It is measurable. We are a country that runs on laws. We need tight laws that safeguard our resources.
Exactly.
And then we need the enforcement of those laws.
But right now, we have the laws. Isn't that fighting corruption? We have EACC. Isn't that fighting corruption? So unless you hear the president go and tell EACC not to fight corruption, which he cannot do because EACC is an autonomous, independent commission, which can act. In fact, even the president, they can indict for corruption.
But there is corruption everywhere, up to and including county governments, isn't it?
Even the very people who are talking about fighting corruption are themselves very corrupt.
What is the third point?
The next one is inclusivity in governance. And I love that one because inclusivity in governance is this so-called broad-based that has now included even people who are in the opposition in the government. So I think that one has been largely achieved. Implemented very well.
Wonderful.
There is the protect and strengthen the devolution. And I also think this one has been done to an extent because you remember there is a progressive increase in budgets for the county governments. And I think that is what it requires to strengthen the devolution. But another thing which is required to strengthen it is the oversighting of devolved units, especially by the Senate. The Senate is doing...
But we have county assemblies whose primary role is to oversight county governments.
But you remember, those county assemblies, just like the Senate, the government has no control over them. But what is important about county assemblies, though it is not good, is that county assemblies, majority of them, especially the one in Lowland, had been captured by the governors, because the governors were the top people in the political parties that elected this MCA. So none of them can think they can even summon a governor, even complain.
Take me to the next one.
The next one is economic investment in youth. I also find this largely implemented because President William Ruto did something very interesting. They are the youth that are not graduates and are not employed, but would love to have a livelihood. He introduced to them what is called the Nyota Fund.
Wonderful.
And that has taken care of this economic investment in youth. And that is not all. Largely, the youth who had graduated from universities as teachers were employed in the last 3 years to an extent that we have taken in about 100. Those ones who are low enough to do construction job, manual jobs, we have a lot of construction going around the country. affordable housing, roads, and such things. They get jobs there. So I think to an extent, the youth have been taken care of, unless somebody doesn't want to see. Then there is one that they call uphold integrity in leadership. For me, this one, I interpret it as the other one, which we call fight corruption.
Yes.
So I think it was just something written twice so that they make 10.
Next one.
Next one is safeguard right to peaceful assembly. Mm-hmm. I think the government has never outlawed any gathering or any protest. They have always allowed them. Unfortunately, the organizers and the participants sometimes go beyond what the Constitution allows, because the Constitution demands that if you want to protest as envisaged in Article 37, you must be peaceful and unarmed. They have armed themselves with stones, they have lit bonfires to disrupt peace, they have broken into shops. That it makes their protest illegal. Nevertheless, the government acted to protect life and property.
I think under that there is something very emotional in this country called the compensation of the victims of
protests.
Of protests.
Now, that we need to look at it from a very clear angle. Because the moment the government says they are going to compensate everyone without finding out who was where when, it means the government is admitting that it is the government that was wrong and not the people who are breaking the law. Why were they breaking the law? Because they did not protest according to the law. So some people died in the line of the police trying to protect life and property. You know when the law says you protect life and property,
correct,
you are not protecting life of Kenyans from animals or life of Kenyans from non-Kenyans. You are protecting lives of Kenyans from rogue Kenyans who want to take lives of another Kenyan.
Anarchists. Next
is audit and reduce national debt. The reduction of national debt, Mheshimiwa, even if you want to laugh at it,
yes,
is by paying it. There is no other way. To reduce the national debt is pay that debt.
Next.
And then there is, of course, that was fight corruption, which I had read before earlier. Raise and manage resources. This is one I love. Raise and manage resources responsibly. President William Ruto has come up with something called the Sovereign Fund. Because initially, we were raising money to build infrastructure by borrowing. That was the irresponsibility. Now we have said, we have some assets which are not generating resources to the country that are enough to build roads. So what are we doing? We have decided to sell some of these resources to build infrastructure that would themselves help us raise better and more resources. And I had given this example before. When we built the Eastern Bypass, the towns there grew and became cities, and the government was now collecting more taxes. Employment for our youth were found in those newly found businesses. So when we have this sovereign fund that we will use to develop infrastructure, including roads, I think our economy will go up, the tax collection will go up, and I think that is a responsible way of raising and managing resources.
I will not leave you, Mwalimu, before you address to yourself. You address yourself to this question. The community has been at the forefront, pushing for justice that normally lead up to this handshake and points of agenda. In this 10-point agenda, what is so close to our hearts as a community that we would want to see implemented, let alone the generalities of Kenyans?
Let me remove myself from being Odoyo Wili, the opinion leader, the political analyst, and put myself as the Luo. Odoyo Wili, the Luo, I look at this 10-point agenda. There is nothing that directly concerns us only. This is whatever is here, of which 80% is not objective. 80% is generalities. 80% is already being done anyway, with or without them being put down on paper. They are being done without putting them here.
So
there is nothing that should make a Luo say, I am not going to follow this or that because the 10-point agenda has not been implemented. Because that very person, if you ask them, what out of these 10 points will change your life? Nothing.
So what do you tell those people from the Luo community who are saying that President Ruto has not implemented the 10-point agenda?
I want also to tell them from the beginning, the 10-point agenda was an exit strategy from the protest that we had mounted against President William Ruto in the beginning.
A good place to end it, Mwalimu. I've run out of time. Thank you very much.